understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, October 26th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night, and person who corrects you because the week is actually ending October 27th, Saturday. Continue.
Yeah, sorry. My bad. We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
We have 6 new episodes this week. I feel like we've been working up to this. We've been doing the calisthenics. We're ready to go for 6.
6, including one premiere. Yeah. Oh, you ready for it, Sarah? This is gonna be
fun. Know, man. This was a rough introduction.
Yeah.
We are 52 seconds in and that wasn't great.
We're really struggling here. Bill Sweeney would be proud.
Bill, if you're listening, please don't listen.
He'd be like, I know I'd rub off on Ed eventually. So yeah. How you feeling, Sarah? You feeling good?
You know what?
Tired? Long day?
It's a long week. Real long week. So if it helps, when I went to Costco tonight, I stood in the wine section and held a bottle of wine and then realized, you know what? This has a cork. Nah, I need the screw top tonight. So that's where I am. How are you?
I don't know. I think I'm doing better. I'm okay. Lot going on. I've been working on a new project that I don't want to tell anybody about yet publicly because I don't want to jinx anything, but things are going well. And yeah, I'm thinking about taking a day off, Veterans Day weekend, to go visit my sister. Ooh. And then my brother's wedding is about a month from now.
So that's going to put that in late November?
It's day before Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Because that's the day the hall was available.
Is he doing it around where you are? Is he coming home for it?
It's in Sparta, New Jersey, about an hour and a half west of me.
So he's doing the 300 theme and everybody's going to yell Sparta and kick each other in the chest?
This is what I keep saying, but no one else in my family is getting my jokes. Ugh. No one is getting those references, and it's driving me crazy.
This is why we work. You call me when they don't think you're funny, sir. You call me.
My mom went there for a tasting, and I said, please tell me if you get to kick someone into a well and scream. And she looked at me like I had 12 heads.
Listen, come home with your bouquet or on it.
Yeah. So no. It's supposed to be very nice. It's one of these like fancy manor house kind of weddings. So it's they're no holds barred, all the stops. And this is coming from an Irish family where all we really need is an open bar. So we're gonna see. And and I'm officiating.
Ooh. Are you officially ordained yet, or have you yet?
Sure. Sure. Yeah, of course.
Well, this is an amateur hour.
Yeah, why not? But I'm trying to put together my script, and All I have from the bride and groom is, yeah, we're going to write our own vows and just keep it under 15 minutes. So yeah.
I want you to word for word do one of the ceremonies from one of the weddings and 4 weddings and a funeral, or better yet, do the funeral.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's not the red wedding, I think I'll make out like a bandit.
Every officiant feels like a lifting of the pressure, because no matter how bad it gets, it's never going to be that bad.
Yes.
Although, fun fact, my brother's first marriage, the cross on the altar caught on fire when the candles lit in honor of deceased grandparents got too close, and the cross, and I was the bridesmaid who got the fire extinguisher. If you watch very old episodes of America's Funniest Home Videos, you will see this on there, which really it wasn't that funny, actually. So,
well, not at the time.
May the wedding be better than that.
For a second, I thought you were going to say at my brother's first wedding, people came out and killed everybody. But that's what you said. Sounded
that was
kind
the
of
marriage, not the wedding.
Oh well. So
did we just both pull our collars like Rodney Dangerfield?
yes, we did. Oh, all right. Let's move it on here. Moving on. Keep it going. All right. We have some episodes to cover. I know everyone's clamoring at it. We got 6 to get through, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna give everyone proper due, but we're gonna get you through in a timely fashion. So please buckle your seatbelts, keep your hands and arms inside of your cubicle at all times, and just to be safe. If you have earbuds in and you're at work, only put them in one ear. Just, that way if someone tries to creep up on you, you can maybe hear them coming. That was really specific.
Have you had some bad experiences? Because what you can do is you can keep your eye on the reflection in your monitor to see if anybody's creeping up behind you. So you can, like Daredevil has enhanced senses. If your hearing is blocked, you can use your eyes. Well, Daredevil can't, I realize, but
Yeah, but you can't see reflections when you have a glare filter on the monitor. So
modern life is hard. Let's do this.
All right, let's do this. You ready, Sarah? You ready?
Ready.
All right, here goes. Supergirl, Season 4, Episode 2, Fallout. Kara went to Lena for help tracking down Mercy Graves. After President Marsden resigned, Nina pleaded with James to write an editorial to speak out against the discrimination of aliens. Brainy got his first taste of discrimination when his image inducer failed at a pizzeria. John began looking into the disappearance of his friend Fiona. Last minute reveal: Mercy, Otis, and Agent Jansen activated a device that spread kryptonite into the atmosphere and made Kara fall out of the sky.
How dare he? How dare they? So Agent Jensen, man, that did not take long to go from new guy we just met to I want his head.
Yeah. You know what's funny? If this was a TV show 30 years ago, Agent Jansen would have been dead by Act 3.
But no, this guy is gonna hang around and hang around.
Yeah. And they, a lot of downers this episode. Things were not working out.
No. Well, I will say this episode also gave us what I have to believe is Melissa Benoist making Kara's running in high heels movements so comically exaggerated and stilted that had to have been intentional. So for me, the highlight of this episode was Kara desperately wants to duck into a closet anywhere to become Supergirl. And Lena's like, no, I got you, babe. I got you. You're safe with me. And so Kara's hobbling after her in her heels, clearly put out that she can't be Supergirl. And, Lena takes care of things. Kara takes care of things behind the back. But the image of those three women sort of tiptoeing about in their really, really, really impractical shoes, I hope that was exaggerated for comedic effect because I loved it. I loved that whole scene. for me, highlight of the episode.
I agree. I was also focusing on the footwear in those moments. Like, wow, shouldn't they all just kind of like slip those off and run?
Yeah. I mean, I slip off high heels if I have to walk more than 30 steps over carpet. So I don't understand what they were doing with those when they were actually fleeing, but that's me.
All right. So James and Nia. Was Nia overstepping her bounds as an intern by being that demanding of her boss?
It was a little whiplashy to go from episode 1, she didn't even speak up in the meeting, to episode 2 being assertive about, you need to do this. On the other hand, that clearly is something that character feels strongly about. And so perhaps that deeply held belief motivated that, where in episode 1, it was fear of her own skills. That's what I'm telling myself, because otherwise that intern probably should not have been doing that to the boss.
Yeah. I feel like that's a dismissible offense. Because interns don't get fired because we don't pay them.
Yeah, we don't. It doesn't even really take that much paperwork to terminate them. It would just be like, give us your key fob. So long, no college credit for you.
So yeah, but Nia had a really big episode. Standing up to James and convincing him to write that editorial, and the way she chewed out that pizza place owner.
I legitimately got chills when she stepped in between Brainy and the pizza bullies. That was incredibly brave, and I loved that moment. I really did. That was such a strong introduction to the character and what drives her. And she and Brainy are cute. You know, if Brainy can be awkwardly flirty with anybody, that seems like a good pairing. So
yeah. I think that was cool. And I'll also say, I don't know those particular guys who were hanging around that pizzeria, but let's just say I know those guys through my travels. And that the way they approach that situation, that's very accurate to life, true life. You're not gonna.
I'm sorry. Do your pizza places where you're from? Are you stocked with beefy dudes with bats? Is that how pizza is made?
Well,
do they press it between their sweaty bodies, and is that why your pizza's so thin? Like, help me understand what the size of the employees. Okay,
first off, there's probably about 4 or 5 different types of pizzerias that I won't get into the details, but I will say there is one of those archetypes that has a lot of beefy dudes hanging around. And there's one bat, they don't all have bats. There's one bat behind the counter, and it probably comes out maybe once every 2 years, but it is there. I promise you.
I probably most businesses have some sort of swinging implement, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing you don't think about until there's an incident. You'd have to ask small business owners about that.
My husband's business has a bat.
Oh, okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, is it a golf club? They might have both. I don't know. It's just a lot of sporting equipment.
So yeah. Pizza.
We're gonna have to turn this into the DCTV and food report if we keep going like this every week.
Probably. But yeah, I thought Brainy had a good arc this week. I thought Nia had a good arc this week. I'm just going.
I thought Lena was fantastic. I thought Lena, she's sort of neutral. She's in the D&D pantheon. I feel like she's just sort of. She's not good, she's not evil, she's smart, and she wants to have the tech, and she wants to be prepared, but she's not going to side with Mercy, and she's not fully siding with Supergirl. So I don't know, she's just kind of a lawful neutral, I guess.
Yeah, but you could definitely see, like even though Lex has not appeared yet, you definitely feel that their relationship growing up, what that was like. And
yes.
And how she wants to be her own person, but she is still a Luthor, and that kind of blurred lines. I love the way that they're playing that in this season.
Well, and I love that she has this pre-existing relationship with Mercy too. I mean, that ups the stakes a little bit, that she feels something for her. And I thought their face-off, honestly, two women from the British Isles facing off with giant mech guns was really all I needed from that episode. So I really enjoyed that. I like how that dynamic shaped up. I thought Lena had a fantastic episode too.
Yeah,
I really like this episode. Agent Liberty.
Yeah. It's weird. We got to see John do a little bit of detective work, but once he got to that town hall, I was a little underwhelmed. I don't know.
And it was, for me, it was kind of twofold. The crowd scene wasn't great. I don't know if that was a cost thing or a what, but everybody kind of felt like it was phoning it in. And it's, for me, this is not a fun escape thing. That was not a fun thing to watch. That's not a, that's where the show is going this season, and that's fine. And I'm interested to see where it leads, but yeah.
And it's, the other thing I think it is kind of, it's mixed messages to saying, we don't like these people hiding behind their masks, and we don't trust these people, we don't know enough about them, and yet these people are being brought together and led by someone who's wearing a mask and won't reveal his identity. I think that's
he could be an alien, they don't know. And the other thing, I think, I guess if I found out that the president of the United States was an alien, I'd like to think I'm an open-minded person, but I'd probably be a little upset too. I wish that they'd given the president just a second to say, I misled you, but it's because I felt I could care for you, some kind of justification. I don't know. I wish that she had had a chance to say why she did it, because otherwise it's just like, well, I did technically violate your Constitution. Why are you so mad? And I understand you have to get there for the storytelling. I get that. They only have 44 minutes, but I always with Supergirl get caught up in the emotion of everything. And then the next day when I step back, I'm like, oh, but wait, actually, I'd probably be a little like, why did you, but that isn't, we have a second article of the Constitution for a reason. So just a slight explanation for why she felt that was necessary might have made me feel better about why she did it. And then we can get mad, and then we can have the rallies and everything that we're going to be doing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking my superhero show. So this is going on. And now we didn't see any more of Red Daughter in here. So that storyline's still hanging. We did get to meet the new president. I bet we get her once every 3 episodes. That's my guess. That we'll see her some. And yes, Bruce Box in the house. And I thought that was an awkward interaction, but Oh, he is straight up going to be evil, right? Yeah, probably, or at least just ignore her. Just kind of same thing. And big cliffhanger here. What's Kara gonna do if all of a sudden Earth's atmosphere is filled with kryptonite dust? I mean, go to Lena for help? The DEO has some sort of chamber that will protect her? First off, Lena lied, and she's gonna have to answer for that. Because she told Kara that stuff had been destroyed. So the fact that kryptonite's still out there, I think there's going to be a big brouhaha about that. But well, that has been that train has been on the tracks for a while. So that reckoning, I'm sure, is coming next week. All right, news for Supergirl. Okay, quickly, we are going to have an episode coming up where we're going to see events starting in season 1 from Agent Liberty's perspective. So we will see the main characters on the periphery as they do the things that we saw them do in past episodes, but we're going to see his experience that drove him to be the masked weirdo that he is. I love this idea. I hope it's executed well, because those kinds of retelling it from a different perspective, Rashomon-like stories are so great. So please, Supergirl, make this good. Yeah, I hope it's as good as the Lucifer episode that we got at the end of last season.
Dr. Laura's ex. Yeah.
Yes. I would also accept the Zeppo from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, another great example where you have a more of a side character and you just see fringes of the main cast. So just it's been done really well in the past. I hope Supergirl does the same. An interview with Melissa Benoist, she says there will be less romance for Kara this season, and she's cool with it. You know, it kind of lets you shift focus elsewhere. However, we are going to see a little bit more of Brainy and Naya. That also he knows Dream Girl from the future, so that could add a layer to their interactions. But we might see some more flirty things. So not much Supergirl romance, but other romance. So cool. That's it for Supergirl.
All right. On to the next episode, which is Arrow, Season 7, Episode 2. The Longbow Hunters. In the future, Roy tried to help William figure out why his father's symbol led him to Lian Yu. In the present, Brick leaned on Oliver to take out one of their prison guards. Dinah refused to leave Laurel alone after Laurel refused a security detail. Felicity helped Diggle and Argus track a stolen super battery, but became frustrated that Diggle wasn't doing more to capture Ricardo Diaz. Last-minute reveal, Felicity asked Agent Watson to hold up her end of the bargain and bring Diaz to justice.
So, I hope Arrow has a good explanation for this whole my dad and Felicity abandoned me that William has. Because that feels like a hard thing to come back from. Like, I just hope it has a really great, they were separated by a chasm filled with alligators and it was really unfortunate and they couldn't get to him for 10 years. You know, a good excuse. Alligator chasm. I just, otherwise that kind of like, oopsie, yeah, we did walk away for 10 years or whatever it is. We haven't gotten a timeline yet. That's a hard character thing for me to deal with. So I'm hoping the show has a really great reason for it.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about. This whole flash forward storyline has me really nervous.
Same.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like, they try to make Colton Haynes look younger and more rugged, but you cannot hide those baby cheeks as much as you try.
But you do kind of get a glimpse of how he will age, and it's good. Colton Haynes can feel good about how that's going to go for him, I think. But yeah, that whole storyline makes me sad because clearly this is a Roy without Thea, and this is a William who said his parents left him, but he survived. You know, I just hope. I do worry about flash forwards that you can see. I don't know, when shows end, we leave our characters where they are and you can kind of imagine beautiful futures for them. You know, that's unless it's 6 feet under, in which case we know exactly. But this, you know, the flash forward, I'm hoping it's a ruse or it's an exaggeration, or I shouldn't dwell on this really. We should move on. But that's the first thing that popped out at me was, oh, show, write your way out of this somehow. Also, William's gay. I suspect that is the casting of the gay tech genius that we reported on this summer. Because that's my guess, is that's who we're seeing there now. And they hid that really well. So well done, Arrow. Exciting.
Okay. Real quick, we got a lot of tweets on this episode. So someone I want to shout out immediately. This is a question from @Aunt Betty Taylor. Could someone please answer these two questions? 1, Laurel was a vigilante. Why isn't she in jail? She didn't make a deal with the FBI. 2, how is she a DA if she never went to law school? She never read an entire law book. Well,
I guess if you're confident and good at delegating, perhaps you could get by as a DA. If you say, why don't you tell me how you'd handle the case, underling? Maybe you could coast for a while. I don't know. It bothers me too.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the city you're in, you know, especially a large city, DA is really more of an administrative job. So
they don't see much courtroom action. This is true.
Yeah.
in the largers.
Yeah, I don't see her having to write a lot of briefs. So, and I think, you know, also the kind of thing we're like, oh yeah, you've been in hiding and distress for like 2 or 3 years. You could just take over your old job. In fact, we'll give you a promotion. Yeah. It doesn't really make sense. I'm sorry we don't have a better answer. You're really lucky that I'm sure I could tell you at Bauer Fett is really thankful that I wasn't screaming into the microphone that Laurel is not a lawyer during my recap.
She's not, though. She's not. I wanted to, but I couldn't find a way to fit it into the language for that recap. I just, I couldn't, I tried, but I couldn't. As to why she isn't in jail, I mean, they never actually proved that she was a vigilante, and that they knew that Laurel Lance had been Black Canary, but as far as the FBI knew, all of her activities were before that anti-vigilante law had come into place. So I guess technically you could say that she was immune because, when she was running around in a costume, it wasn't against the law. Only the laws of fashion. I will say I caught myself thinking that I enjoyed the two canaries together more than I've enjoyed them apart maybe ever. I'm not saying I enjoyed them, but I'm saying I found the two of them together. That dynamic in this week's episode was kind of interesting. They don't like each other, but I feel like Dinah's like, yeah, all right, I'll do my job. And I don't know, I just don't want to see a ton of it, but I did feel like there was a little bit more of interest or a little bit more interesting dynamic there than usual. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. Maybe I'm going soft.
Yeah, I was liking the chemistry in those scenes as well. I do think they have an interesting rapport. I would like to see more of that. Another quick tweet from @SouthernSiren. If I was a Star City resident, no way would I be pleased with the cops protecting Siren. Let that metahuman psycho deal with Diaz. She's just as guilty as him. Plus, I don't buy her redemption at all. I'm sure that's where this is going. But, is that eventually she's going to redeem herself? But she's a DA. DAs can get police protection if they really need it. If they're in danger, that kind of thing. Which, theoretically she is.
Yeah. Okay, can we be done talking about Siren now, please?
All right. Another quick tweet from at Southern Siren. Dig irked me this whole episode. You still have your wife and kid. Elicity have lost everything. I love she refers to them as Elicity. Why the hell would she just accept it and move on? She wants Oliver's sacrifice to mean something.
I felt just the same way. I actually was to the point of sort of yelling at my TV about how pig-headed Dig was being. Like, he was for somebody who's usually empathetic and kind, and he and Felicity have that great relationship, he was being so blind to her frustration. And then he finally did have that moment toward the end where he opened up to her about what he'd been going through, and that helped it ameliorated things for me a bit. But I felt the same way. He was frustrating, and I kind of wanted to shake him.
Okay, all right. So yeah, one last thing I wanted to point out, and this is coming from @Molly2910, who has an interesting theory as to the identity of our mysterious Archer, the new Green Arrow, who's roaming around Star City. She's locked Emiko Queen as the new Green Arrow, and the veil in the last scene of episode 1 confirmed it for me. And she included a screenshot that has when the Green Arrow is leaning down to write down something, and you can kind of see a little bit of the hood in the light. Sarah, do you know who Emiko is?
I sure don't.
Okay, so this is a storyline from the comics from a couple of years ago that was written by Jeff Lemire. And the Emiko is a daughter that Robert Queen had with Shadow. before Oliver had gotten to before the accident that landed Oliver on the island. So the thing that storyline basically uncovers is that Robert Queen was doing a lot more to fight crime around the world, and that he'd actually trained, I think, with the Longbow Hunters or with an organization that was kind of going against the Longbow Hunters, and that he'd hooked up with Shadow and had a relationship with her, and she had a daughter named Amiko, and eventually she winds up on Oliver's doorstep. He realizes that he has a little sister, who is also a very well trained archer and fighter in her own right, and kind of takes her on as a sidekick later on in the comics.
Well, and I will say this, while we're talking about casting that was announced earlier this summer, Catherine McNamara, who'd just been in Shadowhunters, was cast as a street fighter, but we didn't get any information about what character really she'd be playing. I think they gave her a name, but it didn't mean anything. That might track. She's probably early to mid-20s, so, that I could see, if that's where they're going, I could see that being a good fit for her. I know there was a lot of fan hope that she might be Oliver and Felicity's daughter in the Flash Forwards, and that would be cool too. But just a thought. That could be a possibility.
Okay.
Nice. Well, I like a theory that seems a little out of left field, yet it has the comic back. So yeah, cool.
Yeah. Two other quick things I wanted to talk about. One's really quick. I don't think that Septum ring is doing Felicity any favors.
I think it's cute.
I don't know. I don't know. Just some people it works. I don't know. I don't think it works for her.
I want to say the actress wears it quite a bit when she's not filming, so I think that's kind of an Emily Bett Rickards touch.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of used to seeing her in it in the photos from her when she's not filming, so it just looks a little natural on her to me. But your Septum ring opinions may vary, and that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, and we didn't talk at all about Oliver and Stanley trying to figure out what to do about Officer York in prison.
And so obviously what you do is you shank yourself.
Yes, that is, that tracks. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it does actually for Oliver, doesn't it? That, of course, is what he does. So I super loved Oliver sitting down at the computer and then saying, "My wife taught me a thing or two." Aww. But okay, he's a plant, right? Every time he's on screen now, my husband mutters, "Oh, that kid's a plant. He's a plant." So I hope he turns out to be a plant just so Jason has bragging rights, because he's a plant.
Stanley? No, he's just looking for a friend. He's just, he's next to Oliver because he thinks he can protect him.
It's the ones you never expect. That's the best plant.
Yeah. There's something there. I think there's more about Stanley than meets the eye that he's letting on. All right. Oh, is there anything else you wanted to talk about with the episode?
No, we could shift to news if you're ready.
Sure.
And that is, bad news. Interview with the showrunner says we are going to see probably some more redemption for Black Siren. The redemption is a theme of the season, not just for Oliver and the prison stuff, but also Fate Laurel. And that, when they conceived this idea for Roy to be on the island in the Flash Forward, they kind of joked about, well, this show, we're not going to do Happily Ever Afters, apparently. So what about the... Our worst fears confirmed.
Yeah. All right. Was that the only news?
That's it.
All right. Moving on to DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Season 4 premiere. The Virgin Gary. All of the legends converged on Woodstock in 1969 to save the festival from a homicidal unicorn. After the final anachronism was fixed, Ava asked Sarah to move in with her. Nate and Mick broke into Nate's parents' house and had some awkward moments with Nate's dad. Zari discovered that Ray helped Nora Dark escape the Time Bureau and was looking to meet back up with her. Last minute reveal: after getting possessed and thrown around his apartment, Constantine looked up to see a warning written in red on his mirror.
Ed, have you been musked by the beast?
I don't think so.
You'd know, because your hand would make noise and you'd see the Song of the Constellations, and I mean, I feel like you'd know.
Yeah, probably.
I'm so glad this show is back. It was so much fun.
Oh, it was great. It was so out there, and you know what? Everyone had their moment. I love that there's 3 different, very personal stories going on with Ava and Sarah and Ray and Nate. And I thought all of those got their due and were developed really well. And while all of this is going on, we're at Woodstock with a bloodthirsty unicorn who was shooting out rainbow goo at everybody that was making them trip. One thing I will note, I wasn't at Woodstock, but I've been in the area. The Boy Scout camp I used to go to every summer is in the Catskills, just a stone's throw from where Woodstock took place. And I know what it's like, and I know what that area is like in the summer, and I've seen the pictures of Woodstock, and that in this episode, that was way too clean. It was way too clean. There was no mud. There's no grass in that part of New York. It's all mud and rocks everywhere. There's no mud, and I've also seen the pictures. How is it that everyone who happened to be in this episode was wearing both a shirt and pants? Really?
I'm just amused that you weren't at Woodstock. You were at literally the opposite thing, which is Boy Scout camp. Like, there are not 2 more extreme things than that.
Yes.
So I super loved the camera work in this, that the split screen, that kind of 60s 70s cinema vibe that they did, and when they all met up and they did the high five, and this show, I love it so much.
Yeah, that was very cool.
I will say, I think this show works better as the last DC CW show of the week as a palate cleanser, because this used to air last in the lineup, right?
At one point, yeah. Yeah, at one point it was on Thursday.
To me, that just felt like the perfect send you off into the weekend capper, because it was brighter, it was more upbeat, and I'm grateful for Legends, however they're going to give it to me. But I kind of wish this was the bow on the week of CW shows. That's just me. That's a minor thing.
I could see that. I always thought Legends would do better following Flash, and Black Lightning would do better following Arrow, or any way that you match that up. But yeah, but it's so much fun. So much fun.
Can I just say, Ray and his shout outs to ratings, and people love that. People love the supernatural. He may as well have looked directly at the camera to all the CW viewers. That's some good fourth wall breaking stuff. Somebody needs to have sex with poor Gary, though. Like, he needs to make sure that doesn't happen to him again.
Yeah.
Somebody de-virginize Gary.
Poor guy.
Sarah and Ava are lovely and happy, and I'm worried that they're gonna do something to mess with that. But for now, they're healthy and they're in a good place, and just embrace that. Hold on to it. And also, that unicorn's teeth are literal nightmares.
I loved everything about the unicorn. I think that's just the perfect example of everything that's great about this show. And kind
of also about unicorns.
Yes.
Really, truly. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, as bonkers and as fun and light as it was, I don't think Constantine lost any of his edge. and I feel like especially that last scene with him getting tossed around his apartment was just as scary and was on the same level as what you would have seen in his series.
Yes. Although I want to compliment his towel, which stayed put through that whole thing. What kind of hex does he have on that towel that covered all his bits as he was being literally tossed into walls? Impressive towel work.
The wonders of a costume department and bobby pins. I'm sure bobby pins or safety pins were involved there. Keeping all that together.
But yeah, I agree that the mood shift, we're going to talk about Titans, and I find Titans mood shifts a little bit jarring. I talk about this when I talk about the Orville too. Unlike Titans, I feel like the mood shifts in Legends that we saw in the premiere were great. A lot of fun, super enjoyed, never leave us. Legends of Tomorrow.
One quick thing about Nate with his dad, played by Thomas F. Wilson, Biff from Back to the Future. Yay! Biff's back. And he's really mean.
He's really mean.
Teacher kid.
This is like Biff if Michael J. Fox had not rearranged the timeline. Yeah. This is how Biff would be in 2018.
Yeah. Also, like, I think being a history professor is a noble profession. You know?
Well, I mean, you're talking to an actual professor, so, like, yes, being a professor is a noble thing. Come on.
I don't see anything wrong with that. Although, my favorite moment of the episode was when, at the end, when Nate brought the 6-pack, and he's like, we'll share a beer, and his dad looks at him and goes, we don't do that. For a moment, I thought that he was going to say, no, we don't do that. I'm an alcoholic. It just had that vibe, like it was gonna fall on Nate's face. But evidently, no, he does drink, and they are gonna share a beer. Yeah, and I do you think it was odd that first off, Mick has this reaction like, I've got to steal something. I don't want to be rusty. And Nate's first reaction is, let's break into my parents' house.
Actually, no, that made perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, Legends was awesome. It was cool. Keep watching it. Is there anything? Do you have any other thoughts, Sarah?
Nope. Again, I can pivot to news if you're ready. Just a couple of insights into upcoming episodes. Episode 2, that's airing this week, is called Witch Hunt, and it is going to feature some original music that was composed for the episode. Some of the folks who work on the show actually got like composer credits, and it's going to be a Disney spoof. So that, I mean, Salem Witch Trials Disney spoof. I think the fairy godmother who's going to go the way of the unicorn. I am excited for this episode. And then in episode 3, Dancing Queen, we are going to get our first look at Maisie Richardson Sellers' new character, Charlie. She had been a Maya. She's not a Maya anymore, so we're going to see Charlie. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we are going to find out in episode 3.
All right. Next up is The Flash. Season 5, Episode 3, The Death of Vibe. Team Flash hired Master Detective Sherlock Wells to uncover Cicada's identity. Cicada threatened Joe in an effort to get to Vibe. Ralph helped Caitlin sneak into her mom's company to learn more about her father's death. Last minute reveal, Sherlock hinted to Nora that he suspects she did not decide to travel back in time on her own.
Ed, could you say Sherlock one more time?
Sherlock.
Thank you. So I'm going to say the French Wells is a bold choice.
What is up with that accent? That is not...
It's not good.
No, it is bad. It drifts from French to Scottish. I think...
It took me a long time to figure out that it was... I mean, he actually had to say it's French at some point. I was like, oh, that's what you're doing? Oh, his other Wellses have been so. I mean, the Sprockets Wells and the Cyborg Wells, they're all so good. And this one is this the one we have all season long? Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the fact that he's a charlatan.
That's par for the course, and that's fun.
Yeah. Also, like, I really hope that David Hirsch really was Cicada in all of those other worlds where he solved that problem.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Because otherwise, he's not a master detective.
No, he's the villain.
And I want to know how much they paid him. Like,
I did not want them to sell that stock. That hurt me.
Yeah. So yeah.
I will say I just finished the first book in a gender swapped Gaslight London Sherlock Holmes series where the woman is Sherlock, and so to see Tom Wells, oh good grief, to see Wells take that on was a lot of fun and kind of resonated for me. So I did enjoy that aspect, but like I said, I'm kind of hoping we get a different incarnation for the rest of the season, maybe, possibly. Yeah, that's just neither here nor there. Okay, what do you want to talk about? Caitlin or Cisco or what?
Let's start with Ralph, who got I think unfairly maligned by Sherlock.
My thoughts on this. Everybody unfairly maligns Ralph. Ralph deserves respect.
Yeah. I think those digs really hurt because, like, before everyone just kind of calling him a jerk, but like, you're knocking him, and he is a pretty good PI. And I think he showed that with the way he's helping out Caitlin.
And I love those two together. That's such a great friend vibe. I hope they never change that. I like the way those two work together because they are such different personalities. That's a fun pairing that they've found this season.
Yeah. And also him going pear-shaped.
Elongated man.
Yeah. He's never gonna do that again. Although it's a shame. But so yeah, and Caitlin finding that periodic table. Did you know that was going to be the key to everything the moment you saw it?
No. Mostly I was thinking about how poor my high school chemistry education was, and maybe I got a little distracted at that point. So, did you?
Yeah, I kind of figured that. The second she talked, I made this, and everything. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And let's get into the main storyline. So Cicada going after Joe.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of weird how he made those connections.
First of all, how dare you protect Joe West? That was hard to watch. Yeah, it did seem like a little bit of a stretch, but
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, since we're on that scene, we have a tweet out here from @TanyaMel, who has a request. She says, I want an extended Sarah rant on Cecile taking a nap, fully dressed with shoes on during the Flash this week.
Okay, first of all, when you get home, the first thing you do is you kick off your shoes. You probably leave them in the entryway so your husband yells at you about how I'm going to trip over them and somebody's going to get hurt. So you take off your shoes first. Also, she was wearing some sort of constricting waistband. No, you can't sleep with that. You have to at least undo the jeans, but honestly, you're going to take them off and you're going to sleep with no pants on as God and nature intended. Third of all, I'm pretty sure she was in a bra. No woman does that. This is not true. Full face of makeup? No. Now, she is a new mother. Maybe that's how she fell asleep. That's the only justification, because otherwise, that is a Hollywood lie. Tanya, I hope you're happy.
Thank you. I think that'll do nicely. So, Cicada.
Scary. He's scary.
Yeah. Really frightening, really threatening. I think they got through there of the skin of their teeth. That image of Cisco's jacket just kind of being like embedded into the dirt. That was really hard to watch.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we saw the episode titled The Death of Vibe over the summer, we kind of knew it would be something like that, but it didn't make it any more enjoyable. Like, no. And Cisco, for me, the highlight of the episode though with him was how he knows Wells. He was the Wells whisperer. And so he was able to be like, nope, he's not. He is still in this building. He did not leave. He is not disintegrated. I liked that. I like that they're not moving away from his breakup. You know, they've carried that over, and I'm enjoying his emotional beats this season. But yeah, don't threaten Vibe again. It's too hard.
Yeah. Do you think he helped Iris write that obituary?
Iris does it on her own. She's a journalist.
Well, you know, I've been in situations where usually, you know, the newspaper, you'll call the newspaper and kind of tell them what you want. Actually, I've had a few grandparents pass away in the last couple of years, and all of those obituaries were pre-written, and basically the newspaper had to get us to edit them down.
Yeah, that's pretty common. I think, knowing Cisco, he would have a lot of input in that. You know, under if it had been Barry would have been like, just write it. It's fine. Just we need it done. But I feel like Cisco would look over her shoulder. Oh no, put this here. Move that up. That should be higher. Yeah, you're right. He totally did. All right.
And yeah, that whole scene at the end, we find out Cicada's name is Orlin. And he's got a daughter. And what is that you've got that thing growing, and is it killing him, or like, I'm trying to figure out like what the situation is. He going after these metas because like the powers he's stealing from them is helping his daughter, or are they keeping him alive, or like what's the deal?
I don't know. This Flash is parceling out information very slowly this season so far.
All right. Let's get well, speaking of parsing out information, was there any news on the Flash?
Just a couple of quick updates about when we're going to see a couple of characters that comic fans might recognize. The October 30th episode News Flash will feature Spencer Young, who will be a gender swapped version of the villain Spin.
Okay.
So there's that. And then on November 13th, I think this is a character you're looking forward to seeing, Ed, but we're going to see Ragdoll in the episode All Dolled Up.
Ragdoll. Yeah, that'll be fun.
You know, from what I read, Ragdoll sounds kind of scary and upsetting. I'm surprised that's not going to be the Halloween episode. That feels like a darker... I don't know anything about Spin, but Ragdoll sounds just like the cast a contortionist. That already makes my heebie-jeebies jump.
Oh, yeah. There are some panels I could show you that would make your skin crawl. It is not a very fun character to look at. But intriguing and interesting nonetheless. So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. So, that is what I have for The Flash.
All right, on to Black Lightning, Season 2, Episode 3, The Book of Consequences, Chapter 3, Master Lowry. Inspector Henderson and Black Lightning joined forces to investigate the death of a crooked cop that may have been connected to Tobias Whale. Tobias told Painkiller to toughen up and make sure their low-level dealers weren't slacking off. Lynn was forced by Agent Odell to train a homicidal scientist to help with her research. Anissa became concerned about a medical center in Freeland that was in danger of being closed. Jennifer reluctantly began therapy with a telepathic meta named Perenna. Last-minute reveal. Henderson knocked on Jefferson's door to tell him the good news that Tobias had been arrested.
So basically, not much happened.
No. Oh my God, there was, and I didn't even talk about the new principal.
Oh, he was so perfectly awful. You could not have written a more loathsome, sniveling little man.
And you know what the kind of, but the thing I do kind of like is the jabs that he was taking are not exactly wrong. I mean, they're
which are the worst kind. Like they're the worst kind to be on the receiving end. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that whole thing. I see you put the metal detectors in, and he's like, I wouldn't have. Yeah, and that's why you're not principal anymore. Just like, damn. Just sitting up straight. Like, yeah, bro. I'm the boss. We're not. This isn't a discussion. You've introduced yourself. Get out. Just kind of like, yeah, this is gonna be cold. So yeah, and I'm wondering now what Jefferson's doing. Is he teaching classes? What's his function at the school now?
I'm guessing he's just busted down to regular teacher,
Mm-hmm.
or because it doesn't look like he's on leave, paid or unpaid. It looked like he was still at the school, although we saw him cleaning out his office, so I get the sense that he's still there, probably just teaching.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know what his discipline is that he teaches?
No,
Because
I don't.
most teachers come up through you're a history teacher and then you
Yeah.
become a principal, and
Yeah.
I would be curious what his discipline is.
although maybe because he packed up his desk like that was a sad scene. Maybe he was leaving Garfield High forever. I don't know. They didn't make it clear. And this kind of leads me to an email that we got from our buddy Dan over at the Deconstructing Dad podcast. Hi Sarah and Ed. Thanks for all the content as usual. I have a quick question. Really enjoy Black Lightning, but does it ever feel to you guys like they're missing chunks of their episodes? It is almost like they've had to edit out portions of the show or cut pages of the script because suddenly something is happening out of nowhere. I've noticed it quite a few times last season and again in the first two episodes of this season. What are your thoughts? Inquiring minds want to know.
I always sort of chalk up the jumpiness to so many storylines and characters they're trying to serve in a given episode, that you just kind of by necessity have to jettison some of that. But it can be a little whiplashy with we're in the lab with Lynn and now we're at the school and now we're yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do think some of the editing here is choppy. And I think it's for the same reason that there's so many storylines that they're trying to balance here. I was joking with Sarah before we were recording that Black Lightning this week I had to use all 6 of my highlighters.
All 6
in my notes.
He pulled one out of the other out of his pocket protector, from his breast pocket, and was just like, "I got this, you guys. I got this. I got all 6."
Yeah, there were 6 storylines, and there could not have been a 7th because I didn't have another marker.
They don't make a 7th color, people.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a busy show. There's a lot going on here. Not to mention like Gamby just asking out of nowhere, "Oh, I need one of Painkiller's darts." Doesn't say what it's for.
But you give it to him. It's Gamby. All right.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me a suit. You're gonna make a weapon. You're gonna sew it into like a nice like double-breasted. I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah. It's kind of thing like I feel like Anissa, you had her trying to figure out who she wants to be with and deciding on Grace, and the whole thing where she's stealing money to help the church.
And stealing money from guys. You have to say, why do they all have ponytails about? Which I appreciated.
Yeah. I feel like you could have picked one of those, but they wanted to have her. They wanted to give her an emotional beat and an action beat. And yeah, this was very scatterbrained. I almost wish that they had picked 3 or 4, and maybe try to balance the storylines out. Kind of the way Gotham does, but that's not really the nature of the show.
It makes you wonder what kind of story beats they're trying to get through this season. If they're going this quickly through some of these big things, wow, what are they trying to fit in season 2? They must have ambitious plans, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel like you can spend a whole episode with Jennifer and Perenna.
Oh, that scene, that conversation about the beauty parlor, the salon was lovely. I mean, and the importance about hair and its significance in society, and how it it has racial overtones and how it's interpreted and the importance of it for women. I loved that. That's so much of the show shows an understanding of culture and the people that they're talking about and writing about and kind of writing for. And I loved it so much. And I'm so glad that I enjoyed that initial hesitation on Jennifer's part. Hesitation is an understatement, and her, eventual acceptance. That I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I didn't think it was fair that she had no idea.
No, that's true.
Who she was, and we didn't really get an explanation of who Peretta is, and how she got her powers, or how Jefferson knows her, how Jefferson and Lynn know her. So,
flashback in the future, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I have a question. Had I not noticed that picture of the family with Jefferson in a Superman shirt before? Because as he was packing up his desk, he packed up a picture of him and his ladies, and he's in a Superman shirt, and I thought that was adorable.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't remember seeing that before. But yeah, you're right. It's funny things you think about and don't think about with the show.
Oh, that's cute. I also super loved I'm Afraid of Americans at the beginning of the episode. This show has the best music.
Yeah. And what's the over under on how many episodes it takes before Jace kills everyone in the lab except Lynn and runs off?
At the pace they're burning through things, I say 2 more, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know what Agent Odell's deal is. It's just kind of like, I'm really creepy because that's my thing.
Are we waiting for him to just lose it? Because he's so laid back, just waiting for him to be like, well, murder time. Yeah.
All right. News for Black Lightning?
Not really. It's rolling.
All right.
Rolling along.
All right. And our final episode for the evening that we're recording this, and whenever you're listening, is Titans Season 1, Episode 3, Origins. Corey rescued Rachel from the nuclear family, and they drove to a convent in Ohio to learn more about each other's pasts. Dick picked up their trail and tracked them while contemplating on his first days at Wayne Manor. Last minute reveal, Rachel ran away from the convent after Raven caused it to explode.
All right, I am never not going to get tired of silhouettes in the background representing Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne having just left a room. Bruce, he just ran out for milk. Like, we get it. You don't have the rights to Bruce Wayne. Here's a cardboard standee instead. This is Bruce. Go with it.
It's funny with the social workers like grilling Dick and trying to get him to, like, Bruce really wants to help you. You could trust him. I almost wanted him to go, then could you tell him to, like, be in the same room with me and actually speak?
Be here for this? That man standing at the far middle distance, he wants to help me? Great.
You mean the guy who's watching us through a one-way mirror?
Listen, Bruce has things to do. He has to buy more chandeliers for his mansion. He has things going on. You can't have too many chandeliers in Wayne Manor. You got to get more. So,
yeah, I am kind of surprised we didn't at least meet Alfred.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see Alfred? I don't remember seeing anything about casting, but do you think that's a character we'll be able to see?
I think we'll have to eventually. I mean, we heard his voice in the last episode when he was talking with him on the phone. So yeah. What else to go over? Let's start with Hawk and the compromised position that Dick left Hank in with Dawn, who is alive presently.
You had to add the presently. That's dark.
Yeah. Well, And I was wrong. Amy Rohrback was killed.
Well, but you know, I thought you were right because I went to IMDb after we recorded last week, and I thought she was listed for all the episodes. So either that was, you know, IMDb isn't perfect, but I was surprised. I expected her to pull through, but based on IMDb. But honestly, that looked like a fatal thing last week. So I'm glad that my how cinema and TV depicts murder instincts are on track. But that felt really unnecessarily. I had a hard time with that scene last week. That I found a little unappealing. This week, I thought the action was a lot more fun, although this show seems to specialize in that one thing that makes me actually audibly say, ooh! And this week, it was Corey stabbing that dude with the fork!
Oh, the fork!
Fist!
Oh, man! Jeez!
I'm actually worried how they're going to top themselves for the rest of the run of this season because, dang!
It's enough. It's enough. We don't, you know.
we know you don't have any like restrictions. We got it. Just no more forks to the knuckles.
You've made your point.
I said good day.
I said good day.
Okay, can I also say there is no reason for Starfire not to have changed her clothing. It was fine in Europe. It's not okay now. No.
Put
on pants.
I mean, I guess she has money, but I don't think she slept. I think she got in a plane, got off, and then immediately started heading to Michigan.
I just have to believe that she had a layover in some airport where she could have bought sweatpants or something. It's weird. It's just such an over-the-top outfit. It's one thing if she's in like the fatigues and a Henley and a travel type thing, but I don't travel in fatigues and a Henley. I just want to make that really clear. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's so whatever. I know it's the look she's got. It felt okay in the first episode. In this episode, it was weird. And then once she was in the roller rink, I was like, oh, okay, no, it works again. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say one thing that is getting a little frustrating me a little bit with this show is that kind of like Starfire and Raven's thing is that they don't know who they are or what their deal is, and that you have two characters like that, and I don't know. I wish that those breadcrumbs were coming were coming more quickly.
Well, we're down to 7 episodes this season, so they probably will, just out of storytelling necessity. But I agree for both of them to be sitting across the table from each other and kind of both being not blank slates, but question marks.
Yeah, but I can imagine Dick's frustration when he's trying to question and being like, "What do you mean you don't know?" So yeah, would you trust those nuns at that convent when they recognize you both right away?
Oh god, no. If I may trot out a piece of advice I learned from the Doctor Who reboot season 2, never trust a nun, never trust a nurse, never trust a cat. That was in the episode with nurse nun cats, obviously. No, you don't trust that nun. And also I'm watching Daredevil right now too, so there's a nun in that, and I have no trust for any nuns right now at this point in my life. So no, no, that nun, no good.
Okay. All right.
I'm a little sad that I know the deal with Raven's dad, because it would have been kind of cool if you didn't know. And I don't know how many people watching this, I guess if you're paying for the DC universe, you probably know who he is.
Yeah.
But I found myself thinking, oh, that would have been a cool reveal if I didn't know who he is. I'm liking the music. They have kind of an electronic, kind of John Carpenter sort of score that I'm enjoying. Are you sad to see the nuclear dad in the nuclear family go?
I thought that was really cool, and those scenes are really creepy.
Yes,
like that's just like, what is this? I love that dynamic. I can't wait. I am hoping that the next dad is something completely different.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
Like he's just like they get Jeffrey Dean Morgan and he's like this grunge biker and it just upsets them so much.
Hang on. You just said Jeffrey Dean Morgan, grunge biker. I need a second.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Continue.
Oh, okay.
This is
All
good.
right.
This pleases me. Continue.
Yeah. Like that guy. They get someone who would never play Monopoly with them.
He would take one look at that, sweep that board to the floor with his leather-clad arm. 100%.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. I did like. Well, okay. Well, we have to talk about it, Ed. The pinball machine. We have to talk about this. So we get to see Rachel in this beautiful shot playing. That's a real, like, Supergirl had a pinball machine this week as well that I spent some time pausing and looking at very closely. And it seems to probably be one that the show made. This is a real pinball machine. Twilight Zone. It's a real thing. It's beautiful. And go. No, you go. You go.
I played that Twilight Zone pinball machine in my local bowling alley.
Aw.
So it was really cool.
Did you release the multi-ball and did you get as excited as Raven and Beast Boy did?
No, I was never that good at pinball. But so I never got close to that. But that I totally agree with their excitement. That was you could totally see that. And
so
it's the
I just have to name drop for a second. The astute listeners of the podcast remember I talked about pinball for an uncomfortable amount of time last week. We actually at the Chicago Pinball Expo saw the one-of-a-kind special edition Twilight Zone pin that Mike Nagel at Great American Pinball made entirely in black and white. So he took that whole machine and did all the artwork, everything in black and white, and it's gorgeous. Oh, it's so pretty. And for a lot of money, I believe it could be yours. It's not ours because no. But so that was fun for me. If only the Pinball Expo had crossed over with this, I could have taken a picture of me in front of it and had all this ready to go. So sad, but that's okay. But anyway, that was a highlight for me. Maybe not for everybody, but we got to see more Beast Boy. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I wish we'd gotten more of him. And like what's fun, what I thought was really cool is that he and Rachel met, they immediately bonded over pinball, and you could automatically see their chemistry.
Oh yeah. I mean, same age, same interests, same, he looks like he's going to be a little bit more like, yay, bright, and she's a little more grim dark, but they were cute together. He did mansplain a little bit. Like, if she was doing multi-ball, she knows what to aim for. She was fine. He didn't need to wander up and be like, shoot there. Nah, she got that. But I love that. More Beast Boy, please.
Yes. Yeah, that explosion was really cool, but I was kind of hoping that, he had followed them to the convent, like he turned into a bird and flew tracking their car, and that he would have turned into like a gorilla and busted her out.
Do you just want to see the gorilla?
Yeah, well, I want to see Beast Boy turned into animals, of all kinds.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. So I'm he's in the preview for next week, and we are hopefully we will be seeing more of him. So yeah.
So question, is Bruce Wayne leaving you a note offering to teach you how to deal with pain? Is that like a love letter? I mean, is that how Bruce shows emotion?
I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think. Like, do you have a condition where like you're not comfortable speaking to people face to face? Like,
are you a bubble boy where if you get near any other humans, you'll die from germ exposure? So you have to maintain a 20-foot radius at all times?
Yeah.
That you have to leave a note for the person living in your home?
Yeah. Like, I love the food and shelter and sneakers. It's a lot of sneakers.
That's a lot of sneakers.
But like, if we could just have like a conversation once, I think that would be nice. Yeah.
So most of my reference for the Titans comes from Teen Titans Go, which has been my canon personally.
Okay.
Robin in love with Starfire in that? And is that a comic thing? And did we see the initial like antagonistic sparks of that in this episode?
Oh yeah, that is a thing. It is well documented that Dick Grayson has a thing for redheads. Starfire is one. Barbara Gordon is another. There's a constant, there is a constant. Oh, who's Dick gonna go for? But yeah, in Titans, yes, they did have an ongoing relationship.
Well, so if that's the route they're going to go down here, I appreciate the fact that it starts on a little bit of a sparky, snarly ground, because that's always fun to overcome.
Yeah. That was the other thing that's frustrating is like they're all four in the same room, okay, and then they go their separate ways. I'm like, no, what are you doing?
Team up already.
So yeah, and I guess this is kind of the news, but in the little trailer that we got at the end of the episode, we got our first glimpse of the Doom Patrol.
Hey, what did you think?
I'm excited. It looks up to date. Robot Man looks kind of clunky, but that's fine. He's Robot Man. And it looks weird. It looks like a totally different show than what we've seen so far, but still very exciting.
Yeah, I don't have many opinions either way, but Negative Man looks like Claude Rains' Invincible Man, so all right.
Yeah, which is funny because I think as of right now, weird plug, you could read my article on the Invisible Man in the Franchise Chronicles blog on wickedtheory.com.
I didn't even mean to do that. That's what a well-oiled machine we are.
It's perfect. Yes. Is there any other news for Titans?
Yeah, a couple little things. I thought this was kind of interesting. An interview with the showrunners said that they were having a hard time figuring out how to approach a show about Titans because for a long time, Dick Grayson as a character was off the table for, quote, non-creative reasons. And so what that means is probably DC was reserving the Dick Grayson character for a different property, kind of like they've done with Deathstroke, like he can't be on Arrow right now because they're doing the movie. And then once Dick Grayson was released, that's when Titans came together because, okay, we have the rights to this character now. So what's interesting about that for me is what were they saving Dick Grayson for?
Yeah, my guess is a movie. There were rumors when Batman vs. Superman was still in development that Adam Driver may have been cast as Nightwing at one point. And there is a Nightwing movie that's being developed. And the director of the Lego Batman movie is attached and keeps swearing online that it's still around, although no one else is supporting him in that opinion. So, but yeah, my guess is it was for that project.
Who did Joseph Gordon-Levitt play in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies?
He played some guy whose real name is Robin. His real first name is Robin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So that's interesting.
Okay. Oh, and then the second little bit, and then we'll move on. Another question to the showrunners was, will we ever see a gay Titan? And the answer was immediately yes. Next season, there are existing gay characters in that universe. We plan to introduce one next season. And the comicbook.com article I read originally immediately suggested Bunker as a possibility, perhaps the best possibility. So, Ed, who be Bunker?
Bunker is he's a gay superhero. Originated during the New 52. And he has a purple and pink motif. And he's from Mexico, and his superpowers involve him creating these purple bricks that just appear, and he can create walls and structures with them and use them to fight bad guys.
So he can be defensive and offensive. So build a wall around yourself, build a wall around your opponent.
Yes.
All right, cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's all I have for Titans, and I think that's it for the new episodes for the week.
Yeah, so news. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's move briskly. News about the crossover, the DC CW show crossover. First, John Wesley Shipp is coming, and he's wearing a costume that makes Ed make the following noise.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So would you like to explain to the good people why?
Stephen Amell's a baller, by the way. Stephen Amell does not care. He's just like, this is cool. I'm dropping this now before any producers make me take it down. So they showed a pic of him of Supergirl in her costume, and then Stephen Amell in the Flash costume, and Grant Gustin in the Green Arrow costume, and John Wesley Shipp in the same costume that he wore when he played the Flash in 1990.
Do you kind of believe it actually is the same costume? Like John Wesley Shipp's like, no, I got this. I hung on to this. I wear this on the weekends for fun.
It looks exactly the same, and what's funny is it kind of looks like it has the same wear and tear you would expect after 28 years.
Aw, that's lovely.
Yeah, kind of thing where it's like that red velvet that that almost looks like it's black in some places. Like it's it's a really. So yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting. Oh my god, this is gonna be so cool. This is gonna be so cool.
I guess continuing that trend, we also have our first look at Monitor, which Ed, you said seems pretty authentic to the comic.
Yeah, that hairstyle is exactly what it is in the comics. And yeah, I don't know, his beard doesn't look as bushy, but that's fine.
Physics exists for us in a way that it doesn't for comic books.
Yes, it's true.
You mentioned Stephen Amell. I get the sense that with the crossovers, he's busy, but he maybe isn't as busy because there are as many characters as there are on screen, and as such, he's tweeting a lot. He's sharing a lot of behind the scenes photos, and one of them is a blood spattered steel table that looks like it might be in a morgue setting, and he said something like, oh yeah, it's a lot lighter this season, the crossover, so something goes down on a steel table, it looks bad.
Wow.
And we also got a behind the scenes look at Superman Tyler Hoechlin catching Lois Lane, Bitsy Tulloch, in a stunt, and it was really kind of cool just to see how they set those kinds of things up. Like he's just standing on the ground and she's falling 2 inches into his arms, and they have a green screen, and it's just kind of neat. You don't always see the behind the scenes things. So when they film on the street, they're doing a service for all of us because we get to see how that Hollywood Canada magic happens.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Gotham. Ed, we have our first look at Bane. What do you think?
Yeah. That's the Bane they're using for the show? That's
the Bane that they're putting on television on a major network.
Wow. Okay, it's a bad picture. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird because it's got this. It looks like it has some weird kind of like orange filter on it.
Well, and his hair is kind of like pointy, and his eyes are kind of red, and I don't know. It's
yeah. It looks like some weird. It looks like a steampunk cosplay went bad.
But like a homemade, like you had to do it in an hour with the materials you had in your house already.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the best take I saw on Twitter was Zaki Hassan, who said, "The Bane of Gotham makes the Bane of Batman and Robin look like the Bane of The Dark Knight Rises." So that amused me. And like he's wearing like major shoulder pads, and he's got these kind of, and there's this whole like metal plate. It looks like if you were to take the top off your coffee maker, I feel like that's the heating plate and the wires and the tubes that you'd see. I don't know. It's I don't really understand the physiognomy of Bane. Like I don't know what he needs all that stuff for.
Yeah.
Maybe Gotham will explain it. Maybe he just really likes the oxygen masks that drop down on airplanes. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the cover art for an album from a early 90s grunge band that all of my friends are angry that I've never heard before.
No, dude, you just have to listen to this CD. Listen, I ripped it from their live show, and you just need to listen to it 8 times in a row, and then you'll get it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So His mask is clear. It's weird. It's weird. And also, when we had Tom Hardy as Bane, could they not have given him the clear mask? Tom Hardy in a clear mask? Yes.
No, because then you'd be able to understand his voice.
This is where I pause and say, you have seen Bane Cat, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right, just checking. Okay, listener, have you seen Bane Cat? If you haven't, Google it. Okay.
Ooh.
Next show, Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing music.
We have some casting news for Madame Xanadu, a centuries-old sorceress. She will be played by Gerald Prescott, who may be best known as Jackie from early seasons of The Walking Dead.
All right, Madame Xanadu, really important character in the DC Dark Universe. She is a mystic. Kind of like a fortune teller, but much cooler than that. Magician. She's an immortal. Her backstory: she's been around since medieval times. You can find her in a great book called Demon Knights, where she's hanging around the Middle Ages with Vandal Savage and Jason Blood and the Shining Knight and all those people. There was
wait. Vandal Savage, like the worst part of the Legends of Tomorrow season 2?
Yeah, but he's a good guy in Demon Knights. He was just kind of like,
all right,
he
all
was
right,
just,
DC.
As good as Vandal can be, he was just hanging out making a ruckus. He just wanted to beat people up.
Wait, that's a good guy now?
Yeah.
That thug who's like hanging around at the bar, always like, I will. You want to punch? You want to go? That's Vandal Savage, the good guy. All right, continue.
Yeah, he just liked to get drunk and brawl,
Sure.
and he's a good guy because he's hanging out with us and we know what direction to point him in. But anyway, the other Madame Xanadu, there was a Vertigo series in the early aughts, I think, that was written by Matt Wagner. The first volume was drawn by Amy Reeder. That is a great, it's Vertigo, so it's a mature book, but it still follows pretty much her story in the DC canon, and that tells her story from when she first, when she's a young woman in the Middle Ages, and follows her all the way through to modern times. And I it's a really cool character that I think people should learn more about, and I'm happy we're gonna get to see more exposure of her in Swamp Thing.
Yeah, very cool. So I'm really anxious to hear who is going to be cast as Swamp Thing, human form. That's the one character that hasn't been announced yet, and every week I'm like, are we going to get it? But no, not yet. So it should be coming, because this is a lot of other. Anyway, moving on. Ooh. Watchmen. Okay.
Music.
So HBO has hired someone to serve as an intimacy coordinator on shows such as Watchmen and Deuce. That person is going to oversee the sex scenes that are being filmed to make sure that the physical and psychological safety of all involved is being protected, and to make sure that the sex scenes are telling the character stories that the writers are intending. I find this fascinating. So I think this is probably a reflection of some of the stories we heard about Me Too and the things that have come out where, you have an actress who has said, I don't want to do nudity, and you have a director who respects that to a point, and then toward the end of the day says, why don't we do one where just drop the towel? Just listen, I could replace you tomorrow with any number of young actresses. Just drop the towel. We'll do it once. We won't use it. And you get that kind of pressure on set. So I'm guessing that's part of it, but I think that this idea about someone who makes sure that the sex scenes and the nudity is to tell a character's story, as opposed to Game of Thrones that puts, two naked chicks in a brothel behind Littlefinger while he explains medieval politics for 20 minutes. Like, that's not character necessarily. So it's kind of like, I read a lot of romance. I write romance. If you have a sex scene in a romance novel, you want it to change the relationship and move it forward and have a storytelling goal along with that scene. So I just think that's really interesting that HBO is maybe trying to focus a little bit more on, if we're going to do this, let's have a storytelling reason and a character reason, and let's advance things with that, as opposed to just, hey, we're HBO, here are some tits. I don't know. Ed, you say things now.
That is interesting. One other thing to note, and this may be a little cynical on my part, but HBO is part of Warner Media, which is just purchased by AT&T, and AT&T has been giving very mixed messages in the press recently as to the direction they're going to be going with HBO, because they want there have been people who've been speculating that they may want HBO to be family friendly. They've talked about trying to reach out to a broader audience, and that really has not been HBO's thing, where they're all about prestige stuff, and this is for adults. So I feel like part of this is an extension of that discussion, or potential battle that's going on within HBO. But I think the idea of it is interesting. The whole idea that they're meant to protect psychological and physical safety seems like very extreme language to me. So
I think it's to make a better statement might have been to make sure there's no coercive actions.
Yeah.
With power imbalances in the Hollywood dynamic. I'm guessing. I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess. Boy, I don't know about you, but I do not want my HBO to be family friendly.
No.
Like, I do tune into those prestige dramas for the adult storytelling.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's weird, but something to look out for with Watchmen. All right, that was the last bit of news, right?
Correct.
All right, so on to our winners for the week. Sarah, do you want to go first?
All right, my winner of the week is that unicorn from Legends of Tomorrow. Because listen, every little girl who ever loved a unicorn, we knew unicorns were badass. In our hearts, we knew it. And Legends proved that if we can just befriend that unicorn, we will have a hell beast at our beck and call. That when you strip away the pretty, underneath it, it's twisted muscle and gristle, and it will murder your enemies. Unicorns, winner of the week.
Yeah, I figured that. That is pretty good. I did try to go for a theme this week, and the theme for this week is people who don't know. And Supergirl just doesn't know that Mercy and Otis Graves are actually in cahoots with Agent Liberty. On Arrow, Will doesn't know why he's been sent on a wild goose chase to Lian Yu. Flash, no one on Team Flash knows the real identity of Cicada. Black Lightning, Jennifer didn't really know Jefferson and Lynn didn't really know how to handle Jennifer's problems, so that's why they're just kind of tossing her to Perenna. And on Titans, no one knows where they came from except Dick Grayson. So, the fact that Starfire and Raven are so lost and have really no memory of what they were doing at this convent and what they were doing, prior to like maybe 10 minutes ago.
As always, your themes put me to shame.
Oh, well. So some of those I will say were a stretch, but yeah.
But you made it work.
So thank you, everybody. That's the DCTV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.